I'd like to call the special board meeting for Lorain City Schools on Wednesday, June 25th to order. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ferguson.
Here.
Mrs. Washington.
Present.
Dr. Ballard.
Here.
Mrs. Nazario.
Here.
Mr. Sturgill.
Here.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognition of visitors. Anybody visiting? First hearing of the public. Anybody want to speak? Thank you. I would accept a motion to approve the minutes of the June 9th regular meeting and the June 10th, which was the annual Records Commission meeting.
So moved.
Support.
Call the roll, please.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Any old business? Recommendations of the treasurer.
I have items 8.01 through 8.07 for approval.
Discussion?
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
I just want to once again, school's out, and we've still got 24 donations listed on here. The amount of support that we get from the community is immeasurable, not just financial either.
Yeah.
Reports and recommendations of the superintendent.
All right, I am not Dr. Graham, but on Dr. Graham's behalf, I'd like the board to consider approval of items 9.01 through 9.10 in personnel matters.
Discussion.
So moved. Support.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Okay, and before going to item 9.11, I'd like to recognize Mr. Thomas Price, who you just approved to be the assistant principal at Stephen DeHanas Elementary, and his family that is with him in attendance. So,
Welcome.
Mr. Price, would you like to come up and say a couple words?
Hi, I'm Tom Price.
Come up to the microphone just
they-
so we can.
Yeah, got to get you on YouTube.
Hi, I'm Tom Price. I'm actually a Lorain City resident. I live at 4055 but we have to do this in our all district.
Putting the gun
So,
and all the information out there.
So
Good.
excited to actually live and work in the district, and super excited for the opportunity. Thank you for the entire hiring team, and hopefully we're here a year from now talking about all the successes that we have. So again, thank you so much. My wife Amanda. There's our son Mac. He's new to the team, so excited to be here, and thank you all for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. Price, thank you for joining our team. He has a wealth of experiences that is going to make our whole admin team and our support of staff very well rounded. and
I should have
respected.
asked, where are you coming from?
Garfield Heights.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah. So welcome, thank you.
A bulldog.
All right.
We're titanizing you.
All right, on behalf of Dr. Graham, I'd like the board to consider approve of item 9.11.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
I have to abstain. My beautiful, lovely, amazing daughter is a para.
And Mr. Sturgill.
I have to abstain too. I have a relative on this.
Okay.
Okay. On behalf of Dr. Graham, I'd like the board to consider the approval of items 10.01 through 10.20 in operation matters.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? I just want to mention, when people ask, why are you spending so much money when you see a contract with the PEP program, Positive Education Program, for $1.6 million for a school year? That's what it costs to educate some exceptional students.
Right.
And that's not, feathering anyone's nest or anything. That's just the cost of doing business for every public school that uses it. It's a significant number. Where are we? I'll get there.
We had a motion and a second.
Oh, roll call, please.
Mrs. Washington,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson,
Yes.
Dr. Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Would you like me to continue into other matters, or?
Still you.
Okay. On behalf of Dr. Graham, I'd like the board to consider approval of item 11.01 and other matters.
Discussion.
I still have concerns about this, as most know, I have since we started talking about it. I still feel, for the same reasons that I did from the beginning, the proposed costs, we still don't have an exact amount budgeted of how much this is going to cost the district. We know it's going to cost us. Behavior plan, while we're still working on it, it's still a concept or a statement. That's what was given to us, was a statement. It's a concept still that principals are gonna continue working on. So, again, not gonna go long into it, but we know that historically, data shows behavior gets worse as the day goes on, and we're gonna add time to the day. An attendance plan, I know there was some conflicting, where some people feel that kids are gonna get more if they're here longer. I'm on the side where we're adding time, so kids are gonna miss more when we're not here. I mean, I don't know what our attendance plan is yet. And we still have the before and after school, the soft opening, soft closing, that is still kind of unknown as to what is going to, how that's gonna look, what that's gonna look like, per se. And I know that that's not gonna happen until the principals get back and the teachers get back, but I just feel like, as I had asked months ago when we talked, just to push this off for a year until we can get those things, a little more concrete, but
Well,
that's just what I have to say.
actually, I had the chance to attend a couple professional development sessions specifically regarding the soft opening and the use of play and free expression for students beginning and ending of day. And I came away very impressed with the plan. So I can assure you that there is a, that part is in play and very well thought out. Amy Cotterill was one of the presenters, and I can forward you the notes that I have
That'd be
from
great,
it.
thanks.
Because it's there.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I have a question. So first I'll say that I absolutely believe that our kids are great when, they do best when they're in our care. And they, I think all kids benefit from more time and more education. And I miss Margie coming and saying we should have school year round and all of those great things, because I'm not sure she's wrong. My question would be budget. That is a concern of mine as well. Do we feel comfortable not really knowing what the costs will be if we can support this?
It's my understanding that we won't need additional personnel. It should be cost neutral.
There's going to at least be cost for dismissal times and time carding for IEPs and those things. That was discussed here.
May I?
Yeah, please.
So, one regarding meetings that are scheduled outside of contractual time, those have existed since the beginning of our district. I don't necessarily foresee that changing based upon, I don't know, half an hour, 15 minutes, because once again, we're not changing the length of the day for our staff members. So in accordance with the LEA contract and the other contracts, we are still within the working conditions there. Relative to supplemental, which is, we had during COVID, post-COVID is when we introduced for that short amount of time, the I think it was 2 per elementary building, supplementals for arrival and dismissal. We've had some conversations with the LEA about that in regarding to whose time that is from when the end of instruction until the end of the teacher contract time. So I do think I've heard Dr. Graham say, like, we would consider reviewing, putting those supplementals back in place. I also know that at times, we are reviewing supplementals and some are not always renewed every year. So we would have an opportunity to review the total supplementals that we offer. And once again, if something is valued and has a more bang for a buck relative to student needs, then we would lean that way and maybe not have something that is less serving. I can't speak on what that particularly might be, but if it comes to that, like, that's the mindset of how we make decisions on what we offer and what we don't. And every year, we don't offer the same supplementals every year. Some things fall off, some new supplementals are added. So to me, like, this would be in line with past practice as well.
And there's supposed to be an education value to this, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's why we're doing it. If it doesn't work out, you can rescind it in a year. Okay? You could do that if you were so inclined to, but, I've actually seen, as far as when they let children out of school, I've seen principals and assistant principals out there working alongside of everybody else. So, I think it'll work out.
Well, I'm of the mind that we just need to try something to lift our students as high as they are capable of flying. At this point, and I'm willing to put my faith in the people that we hired to make those decisions.
I really appreciate the way you said that, Jay. That is sort of where I've been.
Right.
As long, I guess, as, and I don't want to say I don't believe in people, but I guess as long as I feel that we know that they will be supported in this venture, not just say, here, deal with it, when we already have, some stuff going on. But kids first.
Yep.
Kids first. every
100%.
time. And then teachers and families and community. So, yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Okay.
President, Vice President, may I have
Go
another?
ahead.
I want to respond to the call for support. One of the things that we shifted this summer, in the last 2 summers, we had district leadership team and building leadership team retreats to review data, to get building plans set up for the next school year. This year, we heard there was a greater need for professional learning in trauma-informed, in some of the things that we proposed in the original, I pointed up like it's still up there, in the 7-point plan, how we would respond to behavior. So we did put together a package of professional learning that can continue to be transferred over. The trauma-informed piece was done in partnership with the LEA. They brought in a representative from the Ohio Educator Association, along with one of our internal administrators, and we offered several sessions on trauma-informed practices that were accessible to staff, all staff. We did one specifically for paraprofessionals. So the idea of, meeting the needs that our folks have said are out there, we took the step this summer with that, and all of those sessions can be duplicated and replicated again. So the support pieces will be there. During the school day support pieces, we had those long conversations about the realignment and the flow chart of responsibilities to help people understand where to go. We'll continue to clarify that upon the return, because it was the end of the school year, so folks may not have tuned into our board meeting. We have to make sure that that is part of the back to school for every building, so we're all on the same page relative to what those supports will look like, and we will continue to support our staff, all of our staff members, in the differentiated ways that they need, because not all support is the same support. So we will have to make sure that those supports are given in a manner in which people need, but also supporting our students. You know, we set a goal 5 years ago for all of our students to be better positioned for post-secondary, and all means all, and I think that we have to continue those supports for all of our students. Mr. Ferguson brought up earlier, there are instances where we have to spend I want to say a disproportionate amount of money to provide those supports, but we do. And we do so that our students can find comfort in their own school system here in Lorain. I think that's something that we, you know, have to continue as a mantra. We are not one of the specialty schools that get to pick who comes in and out of their schools. And I take that as a matter of pride. We get to service all of our students in the city of Lorain and prepare them for life outside of these walls. And life outside of these walls isn't without challenges and obstacles and things that we have to overcome, but it truly does take a village to help all of our students. So I think the support that you mentioned is critical for student, staff, all alike. Heck, I'll say, even for someone like myself in my capacity, this dialogue that we've had shouldn't be looked as a negative. It was necessary, and what's the adage that says iron sharpens iron? If we're gonna get better, we have to continue to be able to lean in. And now it is, you know, I'll turn it back over to you all relative to the next steps. This was something that was deemed necessary for a vote. I think we had a wealth of conversation, and there may still be some things that we have to answer. But to me, that's no different than the time that we had coming out of COVID. And when we had to set up the different learning opportunities there, we had to learn on the job too and make real-time adjustments. And I think our track record during that time, we made those adjustments, and we did this and had conversations. If everyone recalls, we were one of the last districts to come back. And why did we do that? Because we listened to various stakeholders and we reached some consensus points. And those weren't always easy, and we didn't all agree on that. But we served our students and our community in the best way that we could during those times, and I don't think this will be any different.
Well, you know, while we are talking about opportunities and trainings, I also had the opportunity to go and learn a little bit about Panorama and about a tool called Teacher AI. And I think teachers that lean into those two things are going to have two amazing resources at their disposal. The opportunities that these artificial intelligence programs, I don't know even what to call them because they're much more than that, platforms, are incredible in the way that they can individualize for student learning and hopefully save teachers time that they can better use in other ways. So with that, any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Did we get a
No,
motion?
Did we get a
motion
motion?
first.
We need a motion, I'm
So
sorry.
moved.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Ballard,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington,
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
No.
Any new business?
I would just like to thank Dr. Graham and everyone that has worked with the lunch program and extended the services throughout the community, and let everyone know free lunch for children 18 and under, 11 to 1 here at the high school, and look online for the various locations in the community.
I'm going to piggyback on that, and that's a perfect example of how the district was able to adjust to community needs as they were brought up and pointed out. And, you know, I think that this administration particularly is very good at adapting to those on the fly.
I've got a question about this.
Yes,
Is anything going on the east side as far as this, or is this just west side, south side?
They did add a stop.
One day, yeah.
they have,
Um,
yeah.
And they're working to hopefully better that, but there is one stop once a week.
I really don't like being critical of it, because I think it's a great thing. Okay, but I just wondered, a lot of times the east side and the south side are thrown together, and they're pretty far apart. You know, you gotta cross a river.
Yeah, Dr. Graham is aware and on it and trying to find a solution, but he agrees.
Okay, thank you.
Second hearing of the public. Our next board meeting,
Oh, there's a,
oh, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
you didn't move earlier, I didn't expect you.
Well, I have questions about some stuff that you guys were voting on. So, Lindsay Larisha, teacher and community member. I have a question. How many teachers do we have in the room right now, besides me? Okay, but right now, how many teachers?
currently employed as
That's it.
teachers, you.
I would like to know how many teachers voted yes on the time change.
Well,
Because
we-
I know I didn't, and I know all the teachers that I talked to did not want the time change. So I feel like it's hard when we have people who make decisions that directly affect us, and we don't seem like we have a say in it, because everybody I know voted no for it. And now,
So I think there's a couple things there, if I may.
Please.
One, we surveyed, We
I would
surveyed.
like to see
So-
those surveys. We've asked for them.
so we have not hidden survey results. So I'll have to go back to that one. I don't believe that has been, but I'm writing down notes. So it was not a vote, like we would vote on a union contract.
Correct.
We brought it to the body, and shared months of dialogue. There were several groups that started, picked up work, continued to carry work. There's groups that are going to continue to work on some of the things that came up from this. So while the times were considered there were symptoms underneath that we are trying to address. We just had a PBIS meeting, district meeting yesterday. There were 6 teachers that showed up from that committee, and we were talking about some of the things that came up here around structure play, the things that we need to do to get ready for the school year, how the PBIS teams can support behavior management and modifications throughout, how we would leverage resources. So
So we're still trying to get a plan together.
no, I said that team is working on what that will look like, just like I said
Yep.
moments ago
So you
around
said we're
COVID.
working on it.
All right.
And
So I don't want to
interrupt you,
argue
but
publicly, so we can have a conversation off, but what I'm not gonna do
We-
is go back and forth
We
publicly.
keep saying that we're working on things, and I think that's the
Well,
bulk of
that's
where
no
we're
different than
upset.
curriculum mapping is an ongoing work. C3 team is an ongoing work. The work that we do is ongoing. So, the challenges that we face, we expect technical solutions to adaptive problems. It doesn't work that way. So, we are in an adaptive business, which means we did present, based upon the request, a plan that would address the concerns that came up around behavior. Now, to say all the meat and potatoes and everything is laid out, no, that's not the case right now. But in order to do it with integrity, we do it with people and not to people. So right now, we have a large contingency of our staff that is on vacation, and rightfully so. But to get to the point where we were at, we didn't do it in isolation. You had representation. Your union president was at every meeting. So that's my response to the vote and how we work together.
Can
and how we can continue.
please get the survey results though? Can you please get them? to
I
them?
will talk to Dr. Graham
Okay, yes,
about
see
that.
if we can,
and,
if they have
see-
asked for
okay.
months, if we
Yeah.
can please get them,
Yeah.
the survey results then?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it should be-
there's a part that makes me a little, I don't know if the word is embarrassed, as though we're not being honest with the results from the survey or not addressing the issues that have came up. So even the issues that may have been underlining in the survey, there was public, I mean, we had how many teachers come up to the podium and express concerns? And I do respectfully believe that we responded to almost all of those concerns. the idea was how would we handle behaviors and what would we do around behaviors? That was one, right? Another concern was around preschool. So Dr. Graham, we tabled the preschool. So I think there's been a consistent response to the needs of our staff. And then, as what was indicated earlier, at some point, we do have to have people that make decisions. And we brought it to the vote, and the vote happened. So I think from a process standpoint, if my partner in crime here, Ross, was here, who loves process, I think we followed a process, and now we have to do the work that's behind the process. So your question around how would support look, you know, I gave some real-time anecdotal evidence of support in real time. We took a approach that we had, and we went this way because the need for professional learning, which was offered to the entire staff, and we had 173 folks attend at least one session. More could have. We didn't reach capacity. We had caps for different sessions, but we would have made room, and we are still consistent on bringing those learning sessions back. And those were the things that we were told would help us support staff in supporting students of all backgrounds, of all needs. That's what we're
So
doing.
the professional development, you're talking about the week after school got out? And we didn't get a lot of notice for that, I'll be honest. So I know a lot of people have their vacations and stuff already planned.
So
I did attend
the
sessions,
need
so I
was
there.
expressed in one time, and we responded as quickly as a turnaround as possible. So you're right. Originally, professional learning was not in the plan for the summer because there wasn't an expressed need for
So it
it.
feels rushed, and I don't mean to keep bringing this up, but this is where I agree with Courtney, is that this feels very rushed. We just got the attendance plan, per se, and we got the behavior plan. Why could we not put that into play for at least a year and have pushed this off, get attendance under control, get behaviors under control? Because, like Courtney said, there is proven that the longer the day goes, the more behaviors you start to see. So if we were
And
to get
staff
those two things into play first, and then have a good foundation of, okay, is this working? What do we need to revamp? Here, we're gonna have teachers who are gonna be able to go to professional development with a little bit more notice so that they can plan for it. That would have been a little bit better. I think this is just something that feels like it's trying to be pushed through so fast that there isn't any concrete ideas. We still have people who don't know that we're doing soft starts and soft closes and this recess. I don't remember the term that you use for it, but it just feels like this is something that is just, let's hurry up and get it done and fix the problem, but we don't have the answer. So I'm gonna continue with my other questions. I don't know if you guys can answer them.
Well, so, wait,
We can get back to her, have
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Graham call you
Okay.
back with your
I
Go ahead, get them,
suggestions.
yeah.
I just want to make sure that I follow your
Yeah,
protocol. If
verbalize.
you want me to respond to
No,
things,
I
I
want-
will, but
I
if
want
we're
her to
having a
verbalize the
conversation where things are
questions.
thrown
Let's
at me
get-
and then I'm
let's
going
get
to
her
table it,
questions.
then
So we
that's just
said
not
this-
right either. But
We said the
please.
supplementals might not be for sure, so then what would dismissal look like if at this point, teachers usually are leaving 3:15 is our contractual time, elementary wise? What will that look like for dismissal? Who stays with students? How do we handle that?
Well, that's
Okay,
that's
so
not
let's-
something we can,
Okay,
I'm going to guess that there's going to be 15 different plans, because there's going to be 15 buildings.
well, I thought there was already a meeting that they talked about teachers' start and end time, then what they would do if this did pass.
So we did not.
Not with me.
Have the
Okay.
the staff start an end time conversation until this vote.
Okay.
Because it would have been disingenuous to have that conversation before this vote happened.
Okay. I knew there was a meeting I wasn't able to attend
Yeah.
due to a retirement, so, I wasn't sure what that looked like. Did if the para's, contract has passed, I'm not sure if it did, are they aware of what their schedule might look like then time change wise and how that would affect them staying or coming in earlier, leaving later?
I can say that we just ratified that this evening,
Okay.
so I'm guessing that that was a part of negotiations, without being present.
Okay.
And, I mean, the standard protocol with any changes has been to bring union leadership to the table and have the conversations. That's just been our standard approach. I think Julie Garcia can confirm that from her LEA stance, as well as all the other union presidents, where there's been things that we needed to discuss, we will discuss with them.
Okay, so in your chart where it says elementary buses arrive at 8 AM, what time does the building actually open?
Well, so we will get solidified across the system because some I've heard different times. The approach is the building should be open if instruction time begins at, for instance, this time that was just voted on was 8:15, and buildings have opened up in the past at 7:45, then we would have a discussion about when would be the appropriate time to open the doors for the buildings.
Okay, so then, once we figure that out, will we be allowed to still time card then when students are brought to our classrooms early?
I will
wouldn't
take
think
that
that
question. Yeah, so if you are working beyond your contractual time, that's when time cards have historically been leveraged.
Okay,
So if your contractual start time is this, and you're doing work before or after, and you've been directed to do so from an administrator, that's how the time card procedure has worked historically.
okay. It was just an issue with, buses arriving so much earlier than the time that is even here on this chart, so I just wanted to make sure. And then the play, professional development, that was an amazing. Amy did a great job for it. That was one that I did attend. But those weren't mandatory, so
Can
when.
I interrupt you really quick?
Mhm.
Maybe that's what you're gonna
No,
say.
you're fine.
Could we add that, two people have said that it was wonderful. Could we add that maybe to the professional development at the beginning of the year that the teachers have to come to? I don't know, can we
I would say,
consider it
and
maybe?
throughout. So, to me, there's lots of opportunities to have, one, job embedded professional development, two, the traditional stand and deliver professional development model, and that can be duplicated throughout. So
Mm-hmm. Right,
we,
for
we
sure,
have
but I
a,
was just, if we
yeah,
could
we have a
maybe-
platform, we could definitely
If
do
they're
that.
both saying it was amazing.
Yep.
Maybe that would be something, since it's something new coming, that would
Yeah.
be great if it could be one of the sessions that they do at the beginning.
So when I mentioned job embedded, a lot of things can occur during what we call our C3 time, which was also previously known as teacher-based
Right,
team
yeah.
time, which is a acknowledged professional learning weekly system where members can learn from each other. We've used that time to say we want to leverage that for advanced planning of units and things of that nature, but we've also been flexible over the first couple years of shifting that to do a lot of different things during that time. To me, this could be an opportunity to do that.
I
as well.
suggested to Amy that she be prepared to take her show on the road in August, because one of the best things about that was the interaction of the teachers in the room, the professionals in the room. I won't just limit it to teachers, in terms of, wow, that's a good idea. I can't tell you how many times I heard that. And I'm sure you had the same experience.
I think
Yeah.
there's power in numbers too, Mr. Ferguson. So, we've highlighted Amy because, as part of the last behavior group that made the 7 recommendations to the board, that was one of her spearheaded ideas along with others that were in that group. I think Anna Bowerman was another one that, sung to those pieces. And I think what we'll learn is as folks engage in that learning, we have a lot of people across our district that, one, are doing similar practices, B, have that skill set and can lean into each other. So this is a great opportunity to learn with and from. And one of the things, in my former hat as professional development director, one of the things I was charged with then was having professional learning come from within, because we've hired the right people to lead learning in our district. This is another opportunity to showcase the talent that we have here. No, we don't have to go out and hire $100,000 folks to come in and drop in and do professional learning. However, we do have to embrace that professional learning is job embedded, is ongoing, is day-to-day, and is experiential, meaning we learn through the experience and the supports and the coaching that comes along with that. While I'm speaking of coaching, real quick for the record, I also am looking at a great assistant principal that we just hired there who's going to show his worth. We have lots of folks in that capacity too, and one of the things that we're working on with the LAA is their ability to get into the spaces and provide real-time coaching and feedback, as that is one of the powerful professional learning models as well. So we are going to be working on doing the practices that were in our plan and ramping those up, but we've also I believe, listened and learned and done some things in real time that can help us be successful next year, knowing that every day as educators, we are adaptive and we need to be adaptive, and we put all the technical things in the world in place, but if we don't have the adaptive abilities to be responsive to what's in front of us, we're still gonna struggle too. So, but please.
More questions?
No, my other question before Courtney had said was just when would the rest of the teachers receive, like, training and what that soft start and close would look like? Just so that in case it's not something that's mandatory at the beginning of the year, they should be given those tools so that when we start this, it's something that everybody has some kind of idea of what that's gonna look like.
I think as we get into this, for a large majority of our folks, it's going to be bringing to focus what we've had back here and bringing it to the forefront of attention, meaning this. We've been a district for the last generation that has been under academic distress. I mean, we had to get very tight structured and I would say almost robotic in our approach towards lesson design, because heaven forbid, we missed a minute of quote unquote curricular resource instruction to do the other things that we know children need. So now what we are saying is, hey, you know what? We can do things in a different way that will benefit our students and get the instructional pieces in. So from an elementary standpoint, there were very tight, rigid blocks of time, and people felt constrained by those. How can I give more time for play when I have to have 100 and X amount of minutes of this and 90 minutes of this? There's only so many minutes in the day. We're gonna help out with that. So when I say it's not all gonna be, this is how you do this, it's gonna be permission to do some of these other things. And to me, that's just as powerful as the nuts and bolts, because we have great people that just have not been, because of external barriers, been able to be as creative as we want it to be. I've lived it. From a teacher standpoint, I did the OGT boot camp, 87 days until the test. You better be on this page at this time. We did terrible things to ourselves
Don't
and
forget
our
simple
students.
solutions.
So we're not doing those terrible things anymore. We're gonna give space for people to play and get back to being creative with how we design learning opportunities for our kids. And those will be the catalysts to increasing our attendance. Those will be the catalyst to decreasing behavior infractions. Now, will we still have some kids that are really experiencing traumatic experiences and we're never gonna know when they're gonna pop up because trauma is stored and it's not like something that just presents itself on a regular at 8:10, 8:15 every day, but a smell, a scent, a word, a heightened voice may trigger? Yeah, those things exist and we still have to be adaptive to those. But for the voting standpoint of the 4-1 that transpired, and even Ms. Nazario's points, those are the things that we're going to build upon. And all I'm asking, and it goes back to the last 3 or 4 meetings where I said, is trust in what we've been as an organization these last few years in working with staff. I know it was hard and it was hot this past school year, but some of the things that we learned in the trauma-informed practices, a lot of that is us setting our environments to be adaptive and to be responsive and to recognize various things. The PBIS committee brought up, we were talking about communication and what that looks like to get our families on board with us early from day one, because if they're on board with us early from day one and they're not waiting to hear, well, these problems have been going on for 6, 7, 8 weeks, and I'm not saying that's all across the system, but it's enough where it's caused some, instead of partnerships, some adversarial partnerships. Those are also things that, have been communicated that we can control, and not just from an administrator saying that, but from staff saying that. That's a part of it, and we will be ready in the beginning of the school year, and we will set up all the sessions that we need to make this work. That's the commitment. You made a very valid point. I will take that back. There's a couple members of the team here that are responsible for opening days. We'll work with the union because we have certain things from a contract standpoint. For instance, teachers get entire day for their classrooms. So we're not doing professional learning on that day. So we'll have to get creative on how we leverage the other hours that we have when we return. But your points have been heard, and I definitely think we have a way of addressing those.
Yeah, and just as part of the parcel to the reason that I said I want to get our kids back, and I'm a proud graduate of Lorain schools, you are, and Mr. Scott is, and I see 2 stars projected after our name again in report card data, and I want us to be better. And I just want to try, I think to not try something, to do the same thing is to give up another year. I want to try, I want the district to try something just to be better. And I hope this is a solution, and I understand every concern that you raised, and were I standing on the other side of the podium, I would have the same things. And I think the most important thing that Mr. Scott said is, please trust the people that are going to do the right thing, because we're going to hold them accountable too. We're not, we have way higher expectations than that they just turn you loose and say, figure it out.
I feel like that's what you're doing though. And that's the hard part, I think, is that, we're saying just trust in us, just trust in us. Well, when we don't feel like we have solid footing to step on, it's hard. And like Mr. Sturgill said, well, if it doesn't work, then next year we just don't do it. And that's the hard part, is just the going back and forth. So I think I would feel more comfortable if we had a solid foundation to build upon. And I know that's not, the general opinion, obviously, but it's hard. So I'm just speaking from a teacher point of view that it feels rushed, and we just wish that there was more solid footing to build upon, so that next year, if it doesn't work, we don't just say, oh, we tried it, it's over with. But my last question, did we get instructional minutes passed to the principals and vice principals yet? Do we know? Instructional minutes, how many? I mean, that's not preschool related, but it was
Right.
just a question that somebody had asked me, so I.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
will
mean-
take that to Mr. Oley. I believe that's
I
an
see.
elementary
Yeah.
focused question.
Okay.
So I will take that to Mr. Oley, and we'll get a response relative to those.
All right,
minutes.
I'm done now, I promise.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate your concern, and your passion.
Yes, very much so.
I just
Can I
wanted-
say, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I mean, what I read, and some information that was given to me, was that we put a lot less time in than other districts do. Okay, and I just wonder why? Why would we put any less time than the districts that we were compared with? Why would we have less instructional time? And that's why I'm for this. I would think more instructional time would be better. I can see that it's been cut some, because, I went to school a long time ago. Don't laugh, but it was a long time ago. But we at least, we went 8 to 3 and 9 to 4. And there was reasons for that, but there was that's 7 hours, right?
Yeah, we had to get home and take the chickens
And
in.
isn't that what we're trying?
Right, Bill?
Trying to get to, what's that?
We had to get home and feed the chickens.
It's a sore subject in Lorain, don't talk about the chickens.
Yeah, don't say chickens in Lorain, right?
Okay, livestock.
But it just seemed logical that if we had more time, and then I understand your reasoning, and I think that, I hope that logically it gets worked out, and that it works out for everybody, because I know you want the same thing we do. You want better behavior, and you want better students, and we don't want 2 stars. So we gotta start somewhere, and I personally, I'm tired of being at the bottom. I don't like it. There was a time in the 80s, probably before you were born, we were one of the better districts in the United States. And we received, acclamation for it. And as Jim Smith reminded us all the time. But, yeah, I would like to see our scores get better, and I think we're at a point where we need to try something.
I agree, and if I could add, some of us at least are, a little scared. I'll be honest, I'll say it. I am hoping that some of these tools that are, PDs and things are going to be able to help the educators in the room navigate. I do feel we are rushing a bit, but I do feel that, in a way, it was Courtney's fault, because we stopped the process and we took the time to have the conversations, to listen, to do the surveys, to do all those things, and then try to, I would think the best as they can come up with a plan to move forward. And I appreciate that about the district. We, some of us more than others, holler and shout and, well, what about this and that? And they actually listen, I think. And I appreciate that. So, yes, we're here to support. And, you know, if we see, you know, trouble and there's more needs, I hope that you guys feel comfortable to come forward, you know, and to say, hey, we need something else. We need more, more games for a soft opening, and it's just gotta hook you up.
Yeah, Mrs. Washington, I just want to say thank you for that. Part about just how we engage. Cognitive dissonance, the ability to have disagreements, get messy, figure things out, and move forward, should be the approach that institutions of education take. That's called learning. Learning isn't open your brain and dump stuff in and then regurgitate it out, and that's what it is. So, yeah, I understand where, you know, hope and trust is hard. You know, different perceptions of what solid footing is. But ultimately, you know, I just want to go on record, you know, because we did have a public conversation. I've respected you as an educator for a long time. And we've had lots of meetings together, I believe. So I just want that to be, you know, too, like, to me, we modeled what conversations can be. And then, yeah, we have homework to do. Because it's my job to make sure that each and every staff member can feel as comfortable as possible with what we're doing moving forward. But that doesn't mean the absence of moving forward. It just means we have work to do. And I accept the challenge, and I appreciate you representing yourself and others along that way. But it's not going to be just, you know, an administrator. It's going to be us collectively, you know, making that footing strong for all of us to thrive in it. And ultimately our students, right? Because at the end of the day, we can't forget they're the reason why we're all here, you know, having these conversations and doing this work for all of them. So,
Okay. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be July 14th at 5 p.m. right here. Be there or be square. And a reminder to all that it will be the only regularly scheduled meeting in July. At this point, I would entertain a motion to move into executive session briefly for the purpose of A2 employment.
I was going to make a motion until you added briefly, and I'm gonna refrain now.
Someone.
Still need a second.
Support.
Okay. Roll call.
Mrs. Nazario?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mrs. Washington?
No.
Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
And we will not be taking any action
It would be nice to go.
on the way out.
I should have done it.
So, thank you all.